Verein Bewegungsspiele Stuttgart 1893 e.V., commonly known as VfB Stuttgart, is a German sports club based in Stuttgart, Baden-Württemberg. The club is best known for its football team, which is part of Germany's first division Bundesliga, missing only 2 seasons of play since the top tier of the German Football League system was established in 1963. VfB Stuttgart has won the national championship 5 times, most recently in 2006 a Euro 07, and the DFB-Pokal 3 times. The football team plays its home games at the Mercedes-Benz Arena, in the Neckarpark, which is located near the Cannstatter Wasen, where the city's Oktoberfest celebration takes place. Second team side VfB Stuttgart II currently plays in the 3. Liga, which is the highest division allowed for a reserve team. The club's junior teams have won the national U19 championships a record 10 times and the under-17 Fußball-Bundesliga 6 times. A membership-based club with 45,636 members, VfB is the largest sports club in Baden-Württemberg and the 5th largest in Germany. It has departments for fistball, hockey, table tennis and football referees, all of which compete only at the amateur level. The club also maintains a social department, the VfB Guard. History, Foundation to WWII. Verein Bewegungsspiele Stuttgart was formed through April 2, 1912 merger of predecessor sides Stuttgarter FV and Kronen Club Cannstatt following a meeting in the Concordia Hotel in Cannstatt. Each of these clubs was made up of school pupils with middle-class roots who learned new sports such as rugby union and football from English expatriates such as William Cale, who introduced rugby in 1865. FV Stuttgart. Stuttgarter Fußballverein was founded at the Zumbicher Hotel in Stuttgart on September 9, 1893. FV were initially a rugby club, playing games at Star Paragraph CKACHI's-Bahn before moving to Cannstatter Wasen in 1894. The rugby club established a football section in 1908. The team drew players primarily from local schools, under the direction of teacher Karl Kaufmann, and quickly achieved its first success. In 1909 they were runners-up to FSV 1897 Hanover in the National Rugby Final, losing 6 a Euro 3. Rugby was soon replaced by football within the club, as spectators found the game too complicated to follow. In 1909, FV joined the ßtʊtɡaʁt Fußballverband, playing in the second-tier B class. In their second season FV won a district final against future merger partner Kronen Club Cannstatt before being defeated by FV Zuffenhausen in the county championship that would have seen the side promoted. They eventually advanced to the senior ßtʊtɡaʁt Liga in 1912. Kronen Club Cannstatt, Cannstatter Fußballklub was formed as a rugby club in 1890 and also quickly established a football team. This club was dissolved after just a few years of play and the former membership reorganized themselves as FC Kronen Cannstatt in 1897 to compete as a football-only side. The new team joined the ßtʊtɡaʁt Fußballverband as a second-division club and won promotion in 1904. Kronen possess their own ground, which still exists today as the home of TSV ßtʊtɡaʁt. Following the 1912 merger of these two clubs, the combined side played at first in the Kreisliga Württemberg and then in the Bezirksliga Württemberg Baden, earning a number of top 3 finishes and claiming a title there in 1927. The club also made several appearances in the final rounds of the SFV in the late 1920s and early 1930s. 1930s and 1940s. In 1933, the VfB moved to Neckar Stadium, site of its current ground. German football was reorganized that same year under the Third Reich into 16 top-flight divisions called Gauligen. Stuttgart played in the Gauliga Württemberg and enjoyed considerable success there, winning division titles in 1935, 1937, 1938, 1940, and 1943 before the Gauliga system collapsed partway through the 1944 Euro 45 season due to World War II. The club had an intense rivalry with Stuttgarter Kickers throughout this period. VfB's Gauliga titles earned the team entry to the national playoff rounds, with their best result coming in 1935 when they advanced to the final where they lost for a Euro 6 to defending champions Schalke 04, the dominant side of the era. After a third-place result at the national level in 1937, Stuttgart was not able to advance out of the preliminary rounds in subsequent appearances. Successes through the 1950s. After the war, VfB continued to play First Division football in the Oberliga Zur Quarter D, capturing titles in 1946, 1952, and 1954. They made regular appearances in the German Championship rounds, emerging as national champions in 1950 and 1952, finishing as runner-up in 1953, and winning 2 German Cups in 1954 and 1958. The team which won 4 titles in 8 years was led by Robert Schliens, who had lost his left arm in a car crash. Despite these successes, no player from the Stuttgart roster had a place on the team that won the 1954 FIFA World Cup. Original Bundesligist, due to disappointing results in international competition including the 1958 and 1962 FIFA World Cup, and in response to the growth of professionalism in the sport, the German Football Association replaced the regional top-flight competitions with a single nationwide professional league in 1963. Stuttgart's consistently good play through the 1950s earned them a place among the 16 clubs that would make up the original Bundesliga. As an amateur organization, and due to proverbial Swabian austerity, the club hesitated to spend money, and some players continued to work in an everyday job. Throughout the balance of the decade and until the mid-1970s the club would generally earn mid-table results. One of the few stars at the time was Gilbert Gress from Strasbourg. In 1973, the team qualified for the UEFA Cup for the first time and advanced to the semi-finals of the 1974 tournament where they were eliminated by eventual winners Feyenoord Rotterdam. 1975 A Euro 2000 era of President MV, VfB Stuttgart was in crisis in the mid-1970s, having missed new trends like sponsorship. Attempts to catch up with new levels of professionalism by spending money failed. Towards the end of the 1974 Euro 75 season, with the team in imminent danger of being relegated to Second Bundesliga, local politician Gerhard Meyer-Felder was elected as new president. Yet, a tie in the final game meant that VfB would be ranked 16th and lose its Bundesliga status. The first season in Second League, considered the worst in its history, ended with VfB being ranked 11th. Having even lost a home game against local rival SSV Reutlingen in front of only 1,200 spectators. With new coach Jan Quarter-Gen Sunderman and new talents like Karl-Heinz Fahr-Paragraph RSTER and Hans-Imar Quarter-Lair, the team around Ottmar Hitzfeld scored 100 goals in 1976 a Euro 77 and thus returned to top-flight play after just 2 seasons. The young team was popular for offensive and high-scoring play, but suffered from lack of experience. At the end of 1977 a Euro 78, the VfB was ranked 4th, but the average attendance of over 53,000 set the league record until the 1990s. They made another UEFA Cup semi-final appearance in 1980 and delivered a number of top 4 finishes on their way to their first Bundesliga title a Euro, the club's third national title a Euro in 1984, now under coach Helmut Benthorst. In 1986, VfB lost the German Cup final to a Euro 5 to Bayern Munich. In the 1989 UEFA Cup final, with Jan Quarter-Gen Klinsmann in their ranks, they lost out to Napoli where Diego Maradona was playing at the time. In 1991 a Euro 92, Stuttgart clinched its 4th title, in one of the closest races in Bundesliga history, finishing ahead of Borussia Dortmund on goal difference. Internationally, they had been eliminated from UEFA Cup play that season after losing their second-round match to Spanish side Osasuna. As national champions, the club qualified to play in the UEFA Champions League in 1992 a Euro 93, but was eliminated in the first round by Leeds United after a tie-breaking third match in Barcelona which was required due to coach Christoph Daum having substituted a 4th non-German player in Game 2. VfB did not qualify for any European competition again until 1997, by way of their 3rd German Cup win, with coach Joachim Löw paragraph W. They enjoyed a measure of success on their return, advancing to the 1998 European Cup Winners' Cup final in Stockholm, where they lost to Chelsea in what was the penultimate year of the competition. Only one player of the Magic Triangle, captain Krasimir Balakov, remained after Jivana Permil Lbr and Fredi Bobic left. Löw paragraph W's contract was not renewed, he was replaced by Winfried Schakarantsiefer, who in turn was sacked after one season. However, Stuttgart's performance fell off after this as the club earned just mid-table results over the next two seasons despite spending money on the transfer market and for veterans like Balakov. 2000 Euro 2007, the post-MV era returned to success. Due to high debts and the lack of results, Gerhard Mayr-Felder finally resigned from VfB in 2000 to take over offices at German Football Association, UEFA, and FIFA. New president Manfred Haas had to renegotiate expensive contracts with players that seldom appeared on the field anyway. As in 1976, when MV had taken over, the team had to be rebuilt by relying on talents from the youth teams. The VfB has Germany's most successful program in the German Youth Championship. Coach Wolf Rangnick had started a restructuring of the team that won the UI Cup, but the resulting extra strain of the UEFA Cup participation ended in barely escaping from relegation in 2001 by clinching 15th spot. Rangnick was replaced by Felix Magath. With players like Andreas Hinkel, Kevin Kurani, Timo Hildebrand or Alexander Lepp earning themselves the nickname the Young and Wild, the club soon rebounded and finished as Bundesliga runners-up in the 2002 Euro 03 season. In July 2003 Erwin Stork became the new president of the club. Champions League 2003 Euro 04, VfB qualified for their second Champions League appearance and, beating Manchester United and Rangers once and Panathinaikos twice, they advanced out of group play to the first knockout round where they were eliminated by their old nemesis Chelsea. Stuttgart continued to play as one of the top teams in the country, earning 4th and 5th place Bundesliga finishes, and again taking part in the UEFA Cup, but without great success. In addition, coach Magath and several players left for another clubs, Kevin Kurani for Schalke 04, Philipp Lahm for Bayern Munich, and Alexander Lepp for Arsenal. Halfway through the disappointing 2005 Euro 06 season, Giovanni Trapattoni was sacked and replaced by Armin V. The new coach was designated as a stopgap due to having resigned from Hansa Rostock in 2003 to focus on his family and having no football job since 2004 except coaching his home team FC Augsburg for a season. Supported by new manager Horst Hett, V could establish himself and his concept of focusing on promising inexpensive players rather than established stars. Team captains Zvonimir Soldo retired, and other veterans left the team that slipped to 9th place and did not qualify for European competition for the first time in 4 years. Bundesliga champions 2006 Euro 07. Despite early season losses and ensuing criticism in 2006 Euro 07, including a 3-0 loss at home to 1. FC Nuremberg, V managed to turn the collection of new players like Mexicans Pavel Pardo, and Ricardo Osorio, and Brazilian Antonio da Silva and fresh local talents, including Mario Garcube Mez, Serdar Tassi, and Sami Khedira into a strong contender that led the league on November 12, 2006 for the first time in 2 years. Stuttgart established themselves among the top 5 and delivered a strong challenge for the Bundesliga title by winning their final 8 games. In the penultimate week on May 12, 2007, Stuttgart beat VfL Bochum 3-2 away from home, took the Bundesliga lead from Schalke 04, and secured a spot in the 2007 Euro 08 UEFA Champions League. After trailing 0-1 in the final match of the season against Energie Cottbus, Stuttgart came back to win 2-1 and claim their first Bundesliga title in 15 years. The victory celebrations in Stuttgart even topped those of Germany's third-place win over Portugal in the 2006 FIFA World Cup. In addition, VfB had their first-ever chance to win the double as they also reached the final of the German Cup for the first time since their victory there 10 years former. Their opponents in the Cup final in Berlin were Nuremberg, a team that had beaten them twice by 3 goals in regular season, 3-0 and 4-1, but last had won the cup in 1962. With the game level at 1-1 in the first half, Stuttgart's scorer Kake was sent off. Nuremberg gained a 2-1 lead early in the second half, but the 10 men of VfB managed to fight back and equalize. In the second half of extra time, with both teams suffering from exhaustion in the humid conditions, Nuremberg scored the winning goal. 2007 to present, rollercoaster rides, Champions League 2007-08, the 2007-08 UEFA Champions League draw on August 30, 2007 paired the German champions with Spanish giants FC Barcelona, French champions Olympique Lyonnais and Scottish Old Firm side Rangers. Like in the 2003-04 Champions League season, Stuttgart's 2007-08 European campaign started with a match at Glasgow's Ibrox Park against Rangers. It ended in a 2-1 defeat. The second match at home against Barcelona was lost 2-0, as well as the third match, against Lyon at home, with the visitors coming out 2-0 winners from 2 second-half strikes. 5 defeats and just 1 win meant the early exit on the European stage. In the league, they managed to finish in 6th place after a poor start. New German national team star Mario Götze scored 19 goals. Subsequently, UEFA Cup qualification was ensured in the summer by succeeding in the UEFA Intertoto Cup 2008. Post-championship seasons 2008-12. The 2008-09 season, like the one before it, came off to a bad start. After match day 14 in November, VfB was only 11th in the table. As a result, Armin V was sacked and replaced by Markus Babbel. After exiting the German FA Cup after a thrashing 1-5 defeat to Bayern Munich in January, things improved considerably and the team ended up third, with second place just being missed after a loss to Bayern on the last match day. That meant the chance of making the Champions League again. Internationally, VfB mastered the group stages of the 2008-09 UEFA Cup, but lost to cup defender Zenit St. Petersburg in the round of the last 32 in February. Stuttgart went into the 2009-10 season with Mario Götze leaving for Bayern Munich, just as Pavel Pogrebniak arrived from Zenit St. Petersburg and Alexander Leb returning on loan from FC Barcelona. On the European level, Stuttgart started the season with a huge success by qualifying for the group stage of the UEFA Champions League 2009-10. Stuttgart entered that competition for the third time in 6 years by defeating Romanian side FC Timișoara in the Champions League qualification playoff round on 18 and 26 August 2009. VfB were drawn into Group G against Spanish side Sevilla FC, Scottish champions Rangers, against whom they had also been drawn against in their previous 2 Champions League group stage appearances, and Romanian champions Unreal at Iceni. With 2 wins, 3 draws and a loss they managed second spot in the group, thus qualifying for the round of the last 16, where they had to face title holders Barcelona in late winter. After a superb home game against Borussia which Stuttgart, however, did not manage to win, they were eliminated in a 4-0 rout at the Camp Nou. In the 2009-10 German Cup, they didn't proceed further than the last 16 either, losing to second-tier side Grue the Far 1/4 at TH. That defeat came in the course of a disappointing first half of the 2009-10 Bundesliga season. As a consequence of slipping to 16th spot in December, young coach Markus Babbel was fired after matchday 15 and replaced by the more experienced Swiss Christian Gross. Under his tenure, VfB improved their situation domestically as well as internationally before the winter break. During that break, Thomas Hitzelsberger, Jan Angstrom Imake, and Ludovic Magnin left the club. Christian Molinero was loaned out from Juventus. In the later half of the season, the team was in the 2008-09 season. Had a fantastic, almost unbroken, winning streak. As the best team of that second round of the Bundesliga, the Swabians under Christian Gross climbed into the upper half of the table and, after a sensational rally, eventually managed to qualify for European football next season through the UEFA Europa League. The 2010 Euro 11 season was a mediocre one, after again spending the first half of the season almost always in the relegation zone, with Christian Gross being fired and interim coach Jens Keller taking over for the rest of the first leg. Bruno Labbadia was hired as new coach in January and managed to save VfB from relegation. Eventually, the team finished 12th after a decent second-half performance. In July 2011, Erwin Storpt did not participate again in the election of the president and Gerd-Ivar Karantzauser was elected as president. The following 2011 Euro 12 season in the new year managed to constantly climb up the table. This was especially thanks to a long unbeaten streak in the spring. Subsequently, VfB qualified for the 2012-13 UEFA Europa League. Especially important during the season were offensive midfielder Martin Harnik, who scored 17 goals, as well as winger Gotaku Sakai and forward Vidad Abaya, who both came to Stuttgart in January 2012. With effect from June 3, 2013, Gerd-Ivar Karantzauser announced his resignation as president of VfB Stuttgart. On July 2, 2013, the supervisory board of the club named Bernd Wöhler as the candidate for the presidential elections. On July 22, 2013, Wöhler was elected by 97.4% of the votes cast. Stadium. The home ground of VfB Stuttgart is the Mercedes-Benz Arena, which was originally built in 1933. It lies close to the river Neckar on Bad Cannstatter's Mercedes-Straße near the new Mercedes-Benz Museum and Mercedes-Benz factory. After being renovated several times, the stadium can hold a maximum capacity of 55,896 spectators. As for the 1974 FIFA World Cup, Gottlieb Daimler Stadion was one of the venues for the 2006 FIFA World Cup, hosting 5 preliminary round matches, a first knockout round match and the third-place playoff. Since the 2008 Euro 09 season, the stadium was named the Mercedes-Benz Arena, starting with a pre-season friendly against Arsenal on July 30, 2008. The stadium recently went through extensive restructuring and rebuilding as it was being converted into a pure football arena. In 2011, the capacity was increased to 60,441. Rivalries, friendships and cooperations. The longest rivalry of VfB is the city rivalry with Stuttgarter Kickers. However, the respective first teams of the two clubs haven't played each other since Kickers were relegated to the 2. Bundesliga in 1992. Thus, this derby has increasingly been overtaken in importance by the Baden-Württemberg derby between VfB and Karlsruhe SC, KSC, for short. In this derby, Old Badenian Württemberg animosities are played out. The rivalry with Bavarian side FC Bayern Munich is mainly one-sided, as VfB fans are angry at Bayern for buying some of Stuttgart's best players and coaches in recent years, such as Jivan Apermil LBER, Felix Magath and Mario Garcubes. Regional friendships exist between VfB and the South Württemberg side SSV Reutlingen as well as with North Württemberg's SPVGG Ludwigsburg. On a national level, supporters groups of VfB used to be closely connected with those of FC Energy Cottbus, 1. FC Zabra CKEN, Bayer 04 Leverkusen and Eintracht Frankfurt. All of these supporter group friendships have been discontinued by today or are only maintained by few supporter groups. Current Ultras friendships are with the Ultras of SSV Reutlingen and AC Siena. In 2005, a cooperation treaty between VfB and Swiss Super League side FC St. Gallen was signed, especially with regard to the youth sectors of both clubs. Honours: National, German Championship, winners 1950, 1952, 1984, 1992, 2007, runners-up, 1935, 1953, 1979, 2003. DFB-Pokal, winners 1954, 1958, 1997, runners-up, 1986, 2007, 2013. German Super Cup, winners 1992. Premier Liga Pokal, runners-up, 1997, 1998, 2005. Regional, Oberliga Saar 1 Quarter DI, winners 1945 Euro 46, 1951 Euro 52, 1953 Euro 54, runners-up, 1949 Euro 50, 1952 Euro 53, 1955 Euro 56. Second Bundesliga Saar 1 Quarter D2, winners 1977. Bezirksliga W 1 Quarter Württemberg Baden, winners 1926 Euro 27, 1929 Euro 30, runners-up, 1925 Euro 26. Gauliga W 1 Quarter Württemberg, winners 1934 Euro 35, 1936 Euro 37, 1937 Euro 38, 1942 Euro 43, runners-up, 1938 Euro 39, 1939 Euro 40, 1940 Euro 41, 1941 Euro 42. International, UEFA Cup, runners-up, 1988 Euro 89. UEFA Cup Winners' Cup, runners-up, 1997 Euro 98. UEFA Intertoto Cup, winners 2000, 2002. Youth, German Under-19 Championship, champions, 1973, 1975, 1981, 1984, 1988, 1989, 1990, 1991, 2003, 2005, runners-up, 1972, 1977, 1982, 1999, 2002. German Under-17 Championship, champions, 1986, 1994, 1995, 1999, 2004, 2009, 2013, runners-up, 1988, 1990, 1998, 2002, 2003, 2012. Under-19 Bundesliga South-Southwest, champions, 2005, 2008. Under-17 Bundesliga South-Southwest, champions, 2013. European competition, scores and results list. Stuttgart's goal tally first. Club management, Bandwaller, chairman of the executive board since July 22, 2013, Joachim Schmidt, chairman of the supervisory board since June 18, 2013, Friedi Bobic, director of sport since July 27, 2010 and board representative for sport since April 10, 2013, Jochen Schneider, director of sport, players, as of August 21, 2014. For recent transfers, see List of German football transfers Winter 2013 Euro 14 and List of German football transfers Summer 2014. Current squad, the club's current squad. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Out on loan, note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. List. Coaches. Current coaching staff, coaches since 1920, managers of the club since 1920, Bundesliga positions, the season-by-season performance of the club since 1963, references. External links, VfB Stuttgart 1893 VA Euro official team site, Hifleset's Kicker Euro VfB Stuttgart team and history site, F-Archive Euro The German Football Archive Historical German Football League tables, UFODA European Football Club profiles, team statistics.